Teodoro García Simental, alias El Teo, is a Mexican drug lord known for his savage and gruesome criminal life. He is a known lieutenant of the Tijuana Cartel who originally worked for the Arellano Felíx Cartel before it became the Tijuana Cartel. He is known to be associated with the Sinaloa Cartel through an alliance with the Tijuana Cartel. He was one of the most wanted drug lords on the U.S. federal authorities list. After almost 2 decades in the cartel industry, El Teo was arrested by the Special Forces in 2010. Want to know how the alliance with the Sinaloa Cartel occurred and what led to El Teo's arrest? Grab a cup of popcorn and a chilled drink and stay with me till the end. Before we begin, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more great content. What's Teodoro García Simental's backstory? Teodoro García Simental was born in 1974 in Culiacan, Sinaloa, Mexico. He worked for the Arellano Felíx Cartel, CAF, as an errand boy under the orders of Ramon Arellano Felíx. He worked his way and rose the ranks to become a top-ranking lieutenant. He started as a drug lord doing the regular drug trafficking business carried out by the CAF. However, he branched out into savage kidnappings and gruesome killings. He's known to dissolve his victims in chemicals like lye and caustic soda after killing them. El Teo's new criminal lifestyle was frowned upon by Luis Fernando Sanchez Arellano, who later took over the Tijuana Cartel after Eduardo Arellano Felíx was arrested. After the arrest of Eduardo Arellano Felíx in 2008, El Teo fought for power against Luis Fernando Sanchez Arellano for rule of the Tijuana Cartel. This led to an increase in the violent crime carried out in Tijuana. Teodoro Garcia was reported to be responsible for hundreds of deaths in 2008 alone due to the power struggle for the Tijuana Cartel. Seeing this, the U.S. federal authorities placed a bounty of up to $2 million for information of the whereabouts of Teodoro Garcia that could lead up to an arrest. The U.S. authorities shared information with the Mexican authorities, which they used to carry out a series of surveillance leading up to his eventual arrest. After several attempts, the Mexican Federal Police Special Forces arrested El Teo in La Paz, Baja California Sur. What made him join the drug industry? Teodoro García Simental was born and raised in Culiacan, Sinaloa, one of the Mexican states largely known as a base for the drug cartels. Many teenagers grew up to join the criminal way of life as that's all they ever knew. El Teo was no exception, as he started working for the Tijuana Cartel known as CAF in 1995 when he was barely 21 years old. He joined the cartel as an errand boy, relying on what he made to sustain him in living. Ever since he joined the CAF, he has spent all his 20s and part of his 30s in the drug industry. Due to greed and wanting to make more financially and be powerful in the industry, he branched out and got engaged in extortion and kidnapping way of life. He carried out his crimes brutally and savagely, as he was known to be ruthless and merciless. He didn't care about who would end up a victim and was on a killing spree to gain fame and power. This is evidence in the war that broke out during the power struggle for the position of leadership of the Tijuana Cartel. The Mexican authorities claim that he usually dissolves the corpses of his victims in chemicals. They got the information through a statement from one of his lieutenants who was in charge of such operations. What was El Teo's experience as a cartel boss? After rising through the ranks in the Tijuana Cartel, El Teo became a high-ranking lieutenant in the cartel. He started overseeing the drug trafficking business for the cartel. As a high-ranking member of the cartel, he sometimes called the shots on some of the core stuff in the cartel. However, El Teo was not satisfied with all that and wanted more. He wanted more money, fame, and power and decided to walk the path of a more brutal criminal life. While still a lieutenant under the then-leader Eduardo Arellano Felíx, El Teo started engaging in kidnappings of middle-class and high-class professionals to extort money from their families. For those he couldn't get ransom from or who tried to mess with him, he would kill them and dissolve their bodies in chemical solutions. He was also on a rampage to get all rival gangs of the Tijuana Cartel, including the ones he wasn't ordered to fight against. Luis Fernando Sanchez Arellano, alias El Ingeniero, got wind of this situation and tried to rein in El Teo. However, it turned into disagreements between them, which would later become the foundation of a series of violent events in Tijuana. One of the events that led to a huge dispute between them was a shootout Teodoro Garcia carried out with rival gangs, which left at least 13 people dead. At that point, Fernando Sanchez Arellano could no longer stand the criminal acts of El Teo. On October 25, 2008, Eduardo Arellano Felíx, Tijuana Cartel leader, was arrested, leaving the leadership position of the cartel vacant. El Teo took this as a chance to gain power and get rid of Luis Fernando Sanchez Arellano, who was his stumbling block. Though El Ingeniero was the rightful successor of the cartel, El Teo was not giving up, so he decided to challenge him for the seat. This led to a power struggle between both of them, resulting in Teodoro Garcia leaving the cartel. El Teo formed his faction of the Tijuana Cartel and allied with the Sinaloa Cartel to take down Luis Fernando Sanchez Arellano's faction of the Tijuana Cartel in return for protection. From 2008 until when El Teo was arrested, Tijuana saw a rise in the crime rate, especially in kidnappings, extortion, and killings. According to the Tijuana police authorities, Teodoro García was mainly responsible for increased homicides in Tijuana in the late 2000s. War broke out between El Teo and Luis Fernando Sanchez Arellano, and Tijuana was their battleground. El Teo was known for his brutal killings, as many massacres of his rivals were reported and many mutilated bodies were hung from freeway overpasses. He was also known to burn his victims in caustic chemicals and toss them into vacant lots. Santiago Mesa Lopez, alias El Pozolero, also known as the Stew Maker, claimed to be in charge of disposing of bodies. He confessed he dissolved over 300 bodies in this fashion in 2008 upon the arrest of El Teo. With all these brutalities going on in Tijuana, the authorities started to take action. In 2009, the Mexican authorities started hunting El Teo's lieutenants heavily, leading to many arrests and a decrease in the number of his enforcers. The authorities also came close to arresting him in January 2009 at a resort south of Rosarito Beach, where his cartel members gathered for a party. However, he escaped as he got away through the beach, which is popular with American retirees. El Teo's arrest. After a series of attempted arrests, which proved futile because the cartel boss refused to show up in Tijuana, El Teo was arrested. When the first attempted arrest proved futile, the Mexican authorities went back to strategize and sought help from the U.S. There are reports that the Mexican authorities signed a pact with the other faction of the Tijuana Cartel, headed by El Ingeniero, to bring down El Teo and his men. The U.S. federal authorities placed a bounty on El Teo and started a 5-month surveillance operation, which led to shared information with the Mexican authorities. The Mexican authorities intensified their hunt and later captured El Teo at his house in Baja California. This was made possible by the electronic surveillance of his phone carried out by U.S. federal authorities. The Mexican police special forces arrested El Teo without any resistance from him. He was paraded before television cameras and flown to Mexico City. El Teo was arrested on charges of drug trafficking, kidnapping, extortion, and homicides. He was immediately succeeded by his younger brother, Manuel García Simental. However, Manuel García Simental's reign was short when he was arrested on February 7, 2010. The Mexican authorities feared that he would reignite a war for control of traffic routes for the cartel. Teodoro García Simental was just like one of the kids who grew up in drug traffic-ridden communities, who chose the illicit way of life as that's all they ever knew. Due to wanting to make ends meet and knowing that being a drug lord was his best option, El Teo became one of the most wanted drug lords of his time. There you have it, guys. Trust you enjoyed the video. Do give us a thumbs up and also hit the subscribe button. It brings good fortune, trust me. Bye.